right. Welcome, everybody. We're in January
We're back
2024. We're back again. And
24.
yeah, no, 24. And we got a very special guest here. Actually, it was our very first guest, whoever came on the show.
A
Rob.
couple years ago, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was 2022 was when we started. And
You are, I think, our very first guest, I believe.
yep,
Great to be back. So look forward to seeing everybody again in what, 5 weeks now, I think.
5 week countdown. So this is the Photo Booth Expo MEX kind of preview or kickoff show, countdown show, right? Um, I'm not going to be there.
Mm-mm. What's happening in February?
So I've got a family trip happening the month after that. My wife has taken a job, and I can't leave her high and dry with the kids. She just started this job this year, so she's still kind of getting her feet wet. And I was like, I can't do that to you. So I'll be back next year, guarantee you that. But
Oh,
Well, you
thanks.
could. It just wouldn't be very beneficial for your marriage if you do.
I do value my family a little bit. It's half the reason I do the things I do. Um, but
look
yeah, we're five
look
weeks
for
away.
yeah. Look forward to seeing you in 2025 then in that case.
Well, I'll see you at another. I'm going to go to some other shows this year. Trying to get to something, and I know that you're always attending this one or that one, so I'll see you at one of them eventually.
Yeah, no, I make the rounds.
So,
So
how many years has it been now?
this is gonna be the ninth show. If it wasn't for COVID, it would be the
Ninth?
10th show, but we had to cancel 2021, obviously.
That's
So
what I was thinking.
hmm. So,
we're gonna 2025. We're gonna mark as a
Gosh,
10-year
it's so far
anniversary
away.
show. So
well, that's a nice round number, 2025.
but it does seem like the first show was almost yesterday, but it has been 9 years.
It
So
does.
Wow, and it's the industry has grown exponentially beyond control since your first one.
yeah, no, we like I said, I for our first show, we were expecting. I was
Yeah,
hoping for three or four
it's a
hundred people, and we ended up adding 1,000 to that. So the first show, we actually had 1,350 people there, and and then it's grown fairly consistently since then. Last year we had 4,700, and this year I would say, based on projections, uh, usually a third of the people, whatever number we have going 6 weeks into it, is two-thirds of the number. So right now we're at like 32, 3,300.
Hmm.
So it could potentially hit 5,000, but I would say it's a pretty safe bet it'll at least match last year's. So
That's incredible. That is incredible. So you're not there now, right? So you still haven't head out to start doing your preps because usually you go
no,
early.
last yeah, prior to COVID, I always made sure I was in Vegas at least a week before the show because the last thing I can afford to do is, take a plane the weekend of the show and the plane is canceled or there's a snowstorm or something like that. So I always, going back to year two anyway, I always made sure I was in Vegas at least a week before. But when COVID happened and, you had all kinds of travel restrictions and you had that, this, that, and the other thing. And I wanted to make sure I had boots on ground and I was there a month before. So
Whew.
2022, I was there a month before. That worked pretty good because there's a lot of last minute stuff I have to do in Vegas. And so 2023, I repeated make sure I'm there a month before. And like I said, it worked. So I'm doing the same thing again this year. But
Yeah, this is the time of year where the weather's the craziest too for flying out there. Like I think half the United States is going through the largest storm I've seen in a long time in winter. It's crazy. I'm sure, and that's
yeah,
just
that doesn't
something to
help.
do.
And all the planes that were grounded because of that issue with the Max again, that didn't help things. But like, there's a lot of cancellations. But
Yeah.
hopefully that'll be, fingers crossed. Hopefully, there's always somebody always has some problem getting to the show. I mean,
It's inevitable.
that's a given. But knock on wood here. Um, hopefully it'll all go nice and smooth.
Yep. Somebody just asked real quick. Well, said hi, guys. Is that Danny Max that just said hi? Did I hear you say his name, Danny? Dave? Probably.
I think so.
Yep. And then somebody else said they thought that our magazine was Wednesdays. We moved it to Tuesdays. Um, yeah. We did this on Wednesdays, and Rob, you've seen it a few times. We've been on a couple of times, but just Wednesdays, the middle of the week, is the toughest time for us because that's when we're starting to get into game plan mode for the weekends. And it's just kind of like, sorry, let's move it up one day because Monday is like a refresher day because we've just busted our butts all weekend, and then Tuesday is perfect. So Tuesdays, everybody. Um, so you're expecting more of an attendance this year, at least match it, at a minimum, but more. Um, what about vendors, right? So the exhibitors at the expo, do you have more exhibitors this year than you've had last year?
Actually, yes. So there's 120 exhibitors right now in 411 booth spaces between PBX and MEX. And both last year and this year, we were full up on the PBX side from like May, June on. We
Hmm.
always have that month first right of refusal, and I would say a good 80% of people return from the previous year.
Yeah.
And like I said, this year was pretty much full by the end of June. Everything was full, and the only places we've had the occasional like just like clockwork, every year, four or five of the early exhibitors end up dropping out by the time of the show.
Hmm.
So we've added, basically we lost a few and added a few, but PBX has been full since June, and it's like 95, 100% sure that MEX is going to be full as well. Right now we have, I believe, 7 out of 78 spots in the show. There's only 71 are occupied, and there's 7 open spots.
Wow.
So
Um, logistic.
we were down to three about 3 weeks ago, and then we had a couple of people that left, and so we right now we have 7 spots, but I'm guessing it'll either be by the
Those
time of
will
the
fill
show,
up
it'll be
quick.
one or two open spots, or it'll be completely full, which is nice because 2022 coming out of the pandemic, that was a bit of a challenge. So this will be the fullest floor that anyone has ever seen in the history of the show, and the largest show period. We have first time as well. We have all four demo rooms are occupied.
Oh, wow.
So
So who do we have in the demo rooms this year?
uh, base QSC
Okay.
um, is a new one. They're here for the first time since the pandemic.
Hmm.
And RSC, um, they've been in there since 2022, and NLFX Pro has their same room that they've had now
Oh,
for
yeah.
this will be the third year for that. They've been in the show for a few years, but we opened up the demo rooms in 2022, and Photo Booth Supply Company. They're actually doubling their space, but
Oh,
what they're doing is they have a spot on the main floor, and then we're opening a door for them so people can actually walk between the main floor and their demo room, which is directly across from their spot on the main floor.
interesting.
So the first demo room in is Photo Booth Supply Company, then next to that is QSC, then NLFX Pro, and then RSC. So
Hmm. Okay. And you have somebody returning, right? Canon, I heard, is part of the show this year.
yeah, they were in the show in 17, 18, and 19. And they were not in the show in 22 and 23, and they're back for 2024.
That's really
So
cool. And then presenters wise, so of course, there's always some great seminars going. I see Alan Berg's coming back. Let me just see if I can get to the site here. Let's go like this. Is this going to work? No. Let's go here. Let's get that going. That's get rid of that. You know what? I got to configure this later. I'll just read them off. Alan Berg's there. Ursula, Scott Faber, Catalina. Alan Berg's there a couple times actually. He's got a couple different.
Yeah, he's actually one of my favorite speakers. I've seen him speak all over the place. Has the best reviews. The stuff that he says is right on the mark. It's inspirational. It's stuff that you can actually uh, write down. I highly recommend. I actually own, I think, four of his books, and the books are well worth getting. They'll be available at the show, and it's just solid marketing material for somebody who wants to be top of their game.
Dave, so what do you
And
think?
he presents it in a way like
Yeah, I've got a
I've
few of
sat
his books
through
also.
his seminars at a number of shows, and anytime I have a chance to see him, even though I've seen him probably 8 or 9 times now, but anytime I have a chance to see him, and he always has new material. So anytime I have a chance to see him, we'll do that. And he offered to do it twice, but it's going to be on Monday and on Tuesday. And in addition, if somebody wants some really good individualized training, we're giving him this is his own. This is not part of the show. This is his own education that he's offering. But before the show opens on Monday from I think 8:30 to 11:30, and the link you can find the link. It's on the website. You can also I think he's posted it to the Photo Booth Expo Facebook page. I think he's posted it to Photo Booth Network.
So let's
But
find that. Where's it on the site? Where would I go to navigate to that?
it's down. It's one of the blogs that are
There,
in there. There you are, right there.
I found it. I'm pretty good at this
Join
stuff.
Alan Berg for a 3-hour workshop.
Stop getting ghosted. Convert more inquiries. Sell more weddings and events. Perfect your pricing. These are all important things to consider. That's great. So this is Monday. So if you got to get there
This
early, right? So 8:30 a.m. on Monday.
this is a third year he's done that at our show, and I've heard nothing but good reviews. A couple of people told me it was life changing, the money that they spent to go to his seminar. So that's like I said, that is technically separate. It's in the same location, but um, the his seminars on Monday afternoon and Tuesday afternoon, those are included with the PBX Key Pass and the MEX Key Pass as well.
Oh wow.
But for the 8:30, I think he has a limit of 25 people,
Okay, I was going to ask.
and so that's his own offering. You basically go to his website and then you buy the package off of him.
That's
We actually make zero money off of that, so that's all his. But like I said, I've talked to a number of people that told me how good it was, and I highly recommend it. So.
anytime you hear him speak, it's just amazing. It's like the content is the content, but it's the way that he presents it that I think is probably one of the best live speakers I've ever seen. So the if you go to PBX MEX and you even just see one of his presentations, I think that kind of pays for it. It's the whole thing itself, in my opinion. That's how good this guy is.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, if you're there on Monday and Tuesday, do not miss it. So it's
Yeah. So Dave, what are you interested in this year? What are you looking for?
So, Catalina presentation.
Okay.
I've seen her speak before, and the information that she puts out is phenomenal. Um,
And that's an
yeah,
interesting
just
topic, which is
Alan. I've listened to Alan speak so many times over the years. What's
yeah.
that?
The Catalina's Unleash Your Reach, the power of free events for market expansion.
Yeah,
That is a very hot topic.
so I've heard her kind of touch on this. I've heard her touch on this before, and she really has some great insight. Um, and the other one would be Ursula from Photo Booth Marketing. It's that Irish accent. I
yeah,
don't know, but
It's the F
she
bombs.
just she
She
makes
tells it
it
like it
makes
is.
it makes it work.
Yeah,
Well, listen, I didn't want to drop that, because we're trying to do a family friendly show, but
I could say F
yeah,
bomb.
there are going to probably be a few F bombs in there.
I would love to see Sammy and Ursula on the stage together, bantering back and forth. What would that look like? That would make for a very, very interesting presentation, I think.
I
Mention that to them next
I
time.
think you need an
They're more than welcome to do that at the show if if that's what
Awesome.
they have in
Like
mind.
the odd couple. It'd be great. Oh my gosh. No, but they're both fantastic. Any surprises, like new vendors that are coming this year that we think we may be that might be turning some heads?
Oh boy, I would really have to write. There's so many, honestly, that I would have to write that down in advance to make sure I say that correctly and I don't forget anybody or anything like that. But the show floor is going to be packed full of the latest new technology, everybody's offerings. Um, it's going to be an incredible experience. And if you have a chance, be there for all 3 days. I know the first what was it first 3 years of the show, we only had 2 days worth of show floor, and people's biggest complaint was that they didn't have enough time to see everything. So we added a third day, I think, in year four, and we've kept that ever since. So the hours seem to work just fine. I think we haven't touched the hours since 2019, I think. It's always on the Tuesday, it's open from 5 to 9 p.m. On
Hmm.
Wednesday, it's 11 to 5, and Thursday from 10 to 2. So, and just see as much as you possibly can in those 3 days. Everybody has their own, some people are there to buy new photo booths. Other people have their photo booths are all set. They're there to look at props and to meet, all their friends in the industry and things like that. Everybody has their own purpose, but as I said, it's worked well for years now, and this I'm quite confident this year will be the best one yet. So. We say that every year, and every year we've actually had the only year that we had less people than the year before was in 2022.
Hmm.
It was 10% less, but that was tough coming out of the pandemic. But then last year we had the best show ever, and this year will, like I said, in terms of
yeah.
the exhibit floor is going to be even more packed than it was last year. So it's an
Yeah.
improvement.
Um, Poker. I think that's one of the biggest things I'm going to be missing is the poker tournament. That's just so much fun. I love the poker tournament. You're having that again this year.
Listen, you didn't have to sit next to Min and him try and take you out every single hand that you did.
I didn't get to play against either one of
So
you.
you were lucky.
Yeah, I was in the top 30, I think,
Well, that's
35 or
because
something
Min
like that.
knocked me out like right away.
Oh, Min did, yeah. You've been talking about that ever since we left the expo. That's just pissed you off. But is the poker tournament happening again this year? It has to, right?
It's happening again. It's on Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, and they actually starting last year. We had too many people to have it in the regular poker room,
Hmm.
um, and so last year they set up a poker room just for our tournament, which is right. It's literally next door to the regular poker room. It's in the Grandview room, but it is our own. It's our own private room. Um, and everybody loved that last year. And this year, like I said, they're giving us the same room again. We'll probably have even a few more people than we did last year. Um, my personal favorite tournament was in
I was gonna.
2022.
The tables were pretty full.
All the tables were. They were going to add a couple more tables, but the tables were all full last year.
It was,
Yeah.
2022 was my favorite because I came in fifth.
of course.
Usually, usually I'm lucky if I last an hour, but I got lucky in 2022, and I'd go in with my 7-2 offsuit and catch 7-7-2 on the flop, and
That'll do it.
and
That'll
what
absolutely.
can you say? Some nights are just your nights, and
Yeah.
I actually made it all the way to fifth place, so that's my big. That'll always be my favorite one, just because I got so close to winning, but.
Well,
Last year I ended up buying in three times and I couldn't get anywhere. It's like I was
mm,
last 2022 I couldn't lose. Last year I was master of second best hand like three
yeah,
times in a row.
yeah. That
You
but
know,
that's part of
I basically I
it's
go all in with aces. Somebody calls me with kings, and of course they catch kings on the turn,
yeah.
and boom, I'm gone. So it's,
But the poker tournament itself, it was something special because that was the first time I did it last year, and I highly recommend anybody watching this either tonight or up until the show to consider it. Um, One of the biggest things is I get to sit with people that I probably would have never sat down with. You know, and I'm not talking about like when you're sitting in a seminar and you got the person to the left and to the right and the front and behind, and you're forced to shake hands with them or take their business cards. It's a good intimate, you know, situation where and you're rotating around tables, so you have an opportunity to meet at least 10, 20, 30 people that you've never met before in your life, or hang out with some people that you do know, um, and solidify that relationship. So it was just so much fun. So if anybody's watching, definitely do the poker tournament.
and then when
And there was some
if
amazing
you don't make it
prizes
all the
too.
way to the end, when the poker tournament's over, it's just a less than a 5 minute walk across the casino floor to the big party. So we have three big parties in the showroom this year.
Hmm.
We actually expanded it. Like I said, first couple of years we only had the party on the Wednesday night,
Yeah,
and then in 2020 we added a Monday night party, and so it's Monday and Wednesday in 2020 and 2022, and then 2023 we added a Tuesday night party. So it's Tuesday night this year. Actually, we're going to be giving out the Hall of Fame, the PBX and the MEX Hall of Fame awards on Tuesday night at 9:30. So it's
you gonna keep that like tight-lipped
but
until that night, or is it going to be leaked at some point?
oh no. People will know we're closing, so it's the ninth right now. Actually, tomorrow I'll do another announcement to let people know. Make sure you vote for the PBX and MEX Hall of Fame
Okay.
before the 15th. So I'm basically, from what I'm looking, it's going to be the people that are leading at this point appear to be the ones that are the most deserving. We do reserve the right, like just in case somebody stuffs the ballot box or
Yeah.
something like that. Um, the at the end of the day we reserve the right to adjust it, but it looks like from what I'm seeing, it looks like the winners are going to be the ones that are getting the most votes.
Yeah.
So
And what
it's
was the criteria
a
again?
lot of people, I think.
They had to have been in the
Oh,
industry
sorry.
for, what was the criteria again? They had to have been in the industry for what, 10 years?
It's based on contributions to the industry,
Okay.
whether it's because you wrote software, because you're doing education.
Yeah.
It's not saying these are the best, it's not saying these are the 10 best photo booth operators or anything. It's not like that. It's contributions to the industry,
Hmm. Yep.
and it has to be over at least 10 years. We had a couple of, I think they're in it this year, but we had a couple of people that were close to it, like 8 or 9 years last year, because I don't vet. We have over 50 names in there
That's,
on,
yeah.
I think, like 60 on the MEX side, and it's a large. I forget the exact number, but um, we don't go through and vet. If I see them listed at least once with a couple of nominations, or if they've been listed three times somewhere, they're basically on the list.
Yeah.
So we don't vet to get on the nominations list. What we vet is the people. So I work close. Like there's about five or six of us that I confer with, and I show the results and say, "Do you guys agree? Does this sound correct? Blah blah blah." Um, and then anybody there's people that we know for sure have been in the business. Like we knew one of the
Oh, like
winners
this guy.
last year was in the business since 2002. So obviously they met the 10-year, and right there. And I've known Dave for years, so we didn't have to call Dave and say, "Have you been doing this for 10 years?" But for the ones that I'm not so sure about, that's when we vet. If
Yeah.
it, so we look at on the 16th of January, we look at the, you know, these are the these are the 15 people that are leading, and if we'll go through that. If we're not sure, we will literally either email them or call them. I usually, and uh, I don't say you're close to being a winner, at least not at the beginning. I'll say, how many years have, just quick question, how many years have you been in the photo booth business, or when did you start doing whatever?
Yeah.
And we did have a couple of people last year that basically, yeah, no, this is a year we started, and I said, well, you got a lot of votes, but you'll be in it again next year because you didn't quite meet the 10-year requirement.
Right. Yeah.
So.
I mean, is there a possibility that someone could make it if they haven't been in there for 10 years, or has that already happened? Like
Well,
you.
they could get the votes, but they will not be given the award unless they've been
Okay.
in there for 10 years.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
You know.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. So we again prepping for the expo. People who have not come out before. Um, Tell us a little bit about the floor itself and like some of the policies with like bringing stuff into the floor, or if you buy something off the floor, what does that look like to somebody who's buying some equipment there? What kind of things do they expect to have to go through to take that floor models? Because some people do sell floor models, and they come pick them up at like Wednesday or Thursday at the end of the show. What does that process look like? Or if they buy something at the show to exit the arena or the floor, what kind of things should they expect?
Well, there's a lot of people that are doing that. We do have security at the door, so we would ask that, if somebody's bringing something large off the floor, that they're showing their proof of purchase and all of that.
Hmm.
But with one exception in 2018, which I won't get into too much detail on. It's generally the exhibitors are responsible, if they have floor models and things like that, they're responsible for making sure somebody doesn't walk off with their floor models.
Yeah. Okay. So they have to show proof of purchase. What about do they have to wait until a certain day to take their stuff off, or can it's up to the exhibitor itself to you know set those rules
No, yeah,
whenever?
I don't imagine most exhibitors would want to take their stuff off the show floor on the first day or on the second day.
Hmm.
I know a lot of them. You see a lot of those. They'll put sold on there, but they expect somebody to come and pick it up at the end of the show.
Yeah.
So, and the majority, the the majority of the sales actually aren't off the show floor. It's,
Hmm.
people don't necessarily want to be bringing.
Stuff.
They don't want to be bringing a photo booth back with them on the plane or whatever.
But they
So,
do it.
uh,
Dave, didn't you do that one year? You did. You said, didn't you bring home something big?
I did. Yep. Yep. At the end, I was given some equipment and I purchased some equipment that I had to do the check for some stuff. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I had my little photographer's card credentials, so
Right.
I didn't have to pay for it.
Yeah. The media is that what it's called? Is it the media pass, or what is that technically called? It
Media
allows.
credentials.
That's it. Media credentials. And what does that do? Explain that to people who don't understand what that is.
oh, I mean, if
So
somebody
on
somebody
some,
can, yeah,
go
go
ahead,
ahead,
Rob.
Dave.
Rob.
Okay, I'll do it. Yeah,
So on,
we have a lot of media that come to the show, whether it's, we've actually had Fox 5 News from Vegas report on it a couple of years. Um, and, a lot of people with podcasts, obviously, and things like that. Some magazines, they approach us for, we basically ask for their credentials, and then in most cases, to be honest, we give them their pass to cover the show, because that's, that helps us as well. So
Mm-hmm.
it
Yeah.
lets people know about the show, and we've had some great coverage over the years.
Yeah. But for shipping wise, Dave, you use it because you get a discount on shipping or a baggage on the plane if you have media credentials. Is that correct?
well, sometimes some airlines will let you bring your equipment on for free.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's a lower cost, depending on the airline and the rules that they have.
Yeah. Good. So it's a double benefit of being
I,
part of the media.
yeah. Sorry, I got that question wrong. I didn't.
Oh no, but that was a
Um,
good point though, because there are some people out there who might be watching this who may want to cover the Photo Booth Expo. Now they know that they can contact you, and if vetted properly, they could get to do some coverage at the show. So it actually was good.
we've had some good. I mean,
So now, Rob,
even in like other, a lot of people from other. We had like a couple of magazines and photography magazines in India cover us. It's Like I said, it's a real international. I actually went through a couple of days ago because I was going through all of our ticketing and all that and counting, how many countries people were from. And we're in the we're in the high 40s right now, but I'm pretty sure the last time I did a serious count was in 2019. We hit 56 countries.
56 countries. Wow.
Although I do think for the 56, I did count instead of United Kingdom, I counted it as England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. So I made it four. This year I've just got United Kingdom in there because that's technically correct.
Just lump them
But
all together. Oh, come on. You
but
got
I'm
get
hoping
some respect to them.
but I'm hoping we hit the 56 or more again. Like I said, if we don't hit the 56, it'll be really. We did not hit the 56 in the last couple of years.
Hmm.
I mean, I think we were in 2022. We had 3,700 people, but the 3,700 people were from like 40 countries, not 56. And then last year we were in the high 40s, and I believe we're in the high 40s already again. So, as long as we get people we'll break the record if about seven people from seven more countries come this year. So, or if I did the post a couple of days ago. I said, if you're coming here are the countries that I have listed as coming to the show. If you're not in one of those countries, let me know, and we'll add that country to the list. And actually, we added three more. I think I had Trinidad and Tobago,
Wow.
Andorra, and Philippines were the three that I remember emailed me and basically said, "Hey, I'm coming from these places. You haven't, I'm not, we're not on the lists."
It's the United Nations of photo booth industry and DJ industry for that matter. So it'd be kind of cool if they had a flag, some kind of, if they're from a different country or whatever, like your guest pass actually somewhat had the colors of the country's flag. That would be kind of neat.
Something to think about for the future.
Yeah. Um, okay. So reading the Facebook groups, there was, and this I think this comes up every year, right? And we know this comes up every year. Is why South Point? It's so far away from the Strip. How about it?
I'm not a big fan of the strip. It's beautiful, it's great.
Hmm.
Okay. It's also extremely busy. Um, I've I've been doing shows. My first show that I exhibited at as an exhibitor was in 1999 at Mobile Beat. Okay, and I went in 1998. But at some point, I've looked at all the properties in Vegas,
Hmm.
and the easiest one to do a show at would be at the convention center. The thing I don't like about the convention center is there's no sense of community there. It's
Agreed.
like you go to the show, but when you're done, then people go back to their, 50 different hotels that they stayed at. The nice thing I like about the convention center, it has infinite, unless you're CES and you got the entire place, it's got infinite expansion capabilities.
Hmm.
So I do like that about the convention center. But um, first couple of the I was thrilled when they had Mobile Beat, which is the DJ show. They had it at South Point in 2007. I was an exhibitor at that time, actually. I was selling limbo sticks. Chubby Checker actually used my limbo sticks. It was a lot of fun. It was fantastic. And it was at South Point, and I loved the place had just opened at that point. I think South Point opened in 2006, and the show was in 2007,
Okay.
and they moved it. The show was at, Mobile B was at the Tropicana for a whole bunch of years, and then the rumor was that the Tropicana was going to be imploded, or the Tropicana told them that we can't renew your contract because we're going to be imploded soon. So
Oh.
they moved it to the Stardust for a couple of years, and then the Stardust actually was imploded, and they at that point they moved it to South Point. I loved South Point, and then they went and moved the show for the next 6 or 7 years over to the Riviera, which no longer exists anymore.
Mhm.
But when I started looking for properties back in 2014, one of the first places I called was South Point, and because I knew they had the space that we needed and all of that, and I've had a good relationship with them since 2014.
Mhm.
I'm of all like I've stayed at most of the properties in Vegas. Okay. And you have two choices. The thing I like about South Point is that in every aspect, they have the convention space that we need, obviously, it works. But in terms of the hotel itself and the gambling and the food and the works, South Point kind of represents what Vegas used to be 20 or 30 years ago,
Mhm.
back when, buffets weren't $57 and they didn't, now almost like 90% of the strip, you're paying $23 a day for parking.
Yeah.
Parking at South Point is still free.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
South Point, for the people that are staying at the hotel, if you book it in advance, you can get a free shuttle from the hotel over to South Point. There's no place. When we were at the Westgate for a couple of years, it was like $25, $30 a person to get from the airport over to Westgate.
Yeah.
And and we actually moved the show. So we had it at South Point for a couple of years. And yeah, this is nothing new. I said, when are you going to have it on the strip? When are you going to have it closer to the strip and all that? So it's like, okay, well, we moved it to Westgate, and 9 out of 10 people were basically telling me
Mhm.
that, you know, move it back to South Point. South Point is so much better a casino. We like South Point better, and that's why the show is out, and it worked. I mean, the show worked. We still had more people in 2018. We were actually the same week as Mobile Beach, so we had an influx of 700 people just coming from that show because I made a deal with the owner at that point, Ryan, that if they would get into our show for free if we got into their show for free. So that kind of got the ball rolling with eventually buying Mobile Beat, but that basically the floor space worked, but in terms of the hotel, everybody was telling in the restaurants and all that, 9 out of 10 people were telling me they wanted it back at South Point. The 1 out of 10 people that liked liked it better at Westgate was because they had comps at Harrah's, or they had some kind of a deal with something on the monorail, or you can't no matter what you do, you can't please everybody, and I hear that a lot. But like I said, it seems to work at South Point. If somebody has never been to Vegas, okay, I've been to Vegas probably 100 times now. Okay, since in the last 30
Mhm.
years. Um, the last 3 years I spent a quarter of my year in Vegas. But if somebody's never been to the strip, call an Uber. You can get to the strip in 10 minutes. Have your fun on the strip. But for the purposes of a trade show, because yes, we like the poker games, we like the slots, we like the restaurants and all of that. Ultimately, you're there to meet people from your industry,
Mhm.
okay, and you're there to learn. And the best place, in my opinion, the best place to do that is at South Point. So we've signed a contract with them through to 2027 that we're going to be there. Beyond that, who
Oh.
knows? I mean, maybe. I've looked at some of the other places. Um, I mean, Fontainebleau is now open. Once again, Fontainebleau is really not, it's not center strip either. It's the far north end of the strip.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to, our rooms right now are like $85 plus a $14 resort fee.
That's so.
The Venetian has some great space, but you're not going to get $85 rooms at the Venetian. Your rooms are going to be 229, 279 plus a $45 resort fee.
Yeah.
So it's no matter where you have it, there's going to um, and I looked at the Rio. The only problem with the Rio is that it was a great casino 20 years ago. It's gone through four owners or something. I don't know the exact number, but um, it has great convention space, but that too is not technically on the strip. It's across the highway from the strip.
Mhm.
So, and there are not that many. I love downtown. There's no place downtown that could hold a convention our size. So, it works. And I've got a thick skin, and I listen to all the complaints. Why aren't you on the strip? Why aren't you on the strip? But
But they still come. They still come, though. That's the thing. They'll complain, and rightfully so, right? Everybody has their opinion and the right to complain, but also the right to applaud. Um, but they have every right to not show up, but they do show up, right? So they want it in the strip, but they just make different plans. Show up a couple days extra early, do your thing on the strip, and then come over to South Point and hang out with the rest of us for, hopefully the real reason that you're down there for, which is education, bonding, learning, bettering yourself, finding about new technology in the industry, right?
it's at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, we have it in Vegas because people like going to Vegas,
Uh,
but at the same time, uh, there and when you're there, that's the other people don't understand that, South Point on its own, if it was in the middle of the strip, it would be one of the best casinos in the middle of the strip. And you wouldn't get your $1.50 hot dogs if it was in the middle of the strip.
yeah.
Okay, and you wouldn't I subscribe to something called the Las Vegas Advisor, which tells you all the best. They say, their top 10 values in Vegas. They say the South Point buffet is one of the top 10 values in Las Vegas. The quality of food versus what you're paying. And once again, I would rather pay, whatever it is. I'd rather pay $25 for a buffet at South Point than $57 for a buffet that's not even as good on the strip. Because the days of the $3.99 buffet are pretty much over.
Yeah. I'll tell you, even the steakhouse there is a little bit pricier than the buffet, but it's totally worth it. I had an amazing meal there. It was 5 star.
They have two steakhouses. There's the highest end steakhouse. It's one of the most exclusive restaurants. It's called Michael's,
That's right. Yeah,
and that's oh, okay.
yeah,
That is known as one of the best steakhouses in all of Vegas. And then they also have the Silverado Steakhouse.
yeah.
So it's like, do you want a Silverado Steakhouse? You'll be paying, whatever, $45 for $55 for your
Mhm.
steak. At Michael's, I think you're paying like $100 for your steak or something like that. So but
Bad.
it's
It was good.
Michael's actually used to be, Michael's used to be as center strip as you could possibly imagine, because the owner of South Point
Uh-huh.
actually owned a casino. What was it called? Right across from Bally's, or it's now called the Horseshoe. But
Sorry from the waiter on this.
it's now called something else, and he's not the owner anymore. But the big value on the strip uh, was Coast. Barbary Coast. I don't know if we're going back 20 years here, but Barbary Coast used to be kitty corner from Caesar's Palace and Bally's at the time, now the Horseshoe and Bellagio, and all of that. And the fourth corner was just right next to the Flamingo. And people used to love going there because they had great deals. And they had the really exclusive steakhouse, which was Michael's.
Yep.
And the owner of South Point he's actually the son of one of the original big casino bosses. He just passed away like 3, 4 years ago. But Jackie Gahn used to at one point own half of downtown Las Vegas.
Oh man.
And his son is Michael Gahn. He started Barbary Coast, and then at one point he had all the coast casinos. So you had originally South Point was called South Coast, and he merged with Boyd. Um, and then at the end of the day, he ended up giving all his shares in Boyd away to own South Point outright. And somewhere along the way, they moved Michaels over from Barbary Coast over to South Point. But there you go.
Yeah, this is the good stuff. So for those who are listening on a podcast and not watching, we're just taking a look at the website for South Point and the menu and Just the food there is phenomenal, and even the little bar, the clam bar they've got, that is really good. I Every time I go there, I have the Diablo, the seafood Diablo. It's fantastic. The buffet I've had, way too much food at the buffet. To be honest with you, the one thing that I wish they had was a nice indoor pool. That's the one thing I wish that they had. Because it's just look at that. You come to the site, you want to see the pool, but
It's
that's
a
the part of February, right? That's
it's a beautiful, it's an absolutely beautiful pool. Unfortunately, it is February, but
yeah,
once again, you can never have the perfect date either. There's always, no matter, you pick any date of the year and there's going to be something the matter with it. But
yeah.
overall, February's worked well for, well, actually we started off in April and then we went to March, and it's been February now
Mhm.
since 2019.
They do have the hot
And
tub. If you go to the gym, there's a hot tub like right outside. Apparently, that they keep that open. So if you at least want to get a dip in the hot tub, they have that available. It's not the
And
same,
for
but
those people that are for those people that like to exercise, they've got a hell of a gym there that's
they
included with
do.
the if you're staying in the hotel. So
Yeah, they do. Um, and I think another benefit of that spot is just it's right across the street, right? There's some other restaurants, right? You don't have to necessarily stay in the hotel. There's a convenience store. You can get snacks and supplies, not have to go too far to get it. I think that's another bonus of it as well.
yeah, they've literally since it wasn't there the first year we were there in 2015, but
Mhm.
now there's like six or seven really good, if you're not happy with the 11, I don't know too many people that aren't happy with the 11 restaurants in South Point, but yeah, you can run literally across the street and you got your McDonald's and pizza place, and
Yeah,
there's something like six or seven restaurants right there right across the street.
yeah.
So
So that's nice.
so you have your options.
All right. So deadlines are done for the show, right? So the early bird discount, I assume, that's done. Now it's full price, correct?
Actually, no, no.
No.
Um,
Okay.
we actually have a discount code that will go all the way up to February the 15th, but as we've done this since year one of the show, if you use a discount code, the discount decreases as you're getting closer to the show.
Okay.
So right now, if you're getting a PBX key pass,
Uh-huh.
it's the list price is 279. I can give you a code. The code is PBXSHOW 2024. Okay. We have a number of vendors. It's all regardless of what vendor you get it from, it's the same price.
Right.
Okay. We have a number of vendors that offer codes as well. The only reason we have separate codes for them is so we can identify if a vendor is telling me, well, we brought 50 people to your show or we brought 100 people to your show, then I can check that, because they use their vendor code. But
Yeah.
it's all the reason it's PBX Show 2024 is because that's the show code.
Gotcha. That's
Okay.
good.
So you can either go and pay 279 for a key pass, or you can uh till the 10th of January, which is tomorrow. Okay. We're probably
Mhm.
going to raise it on Friday because we tell people we're going to raise it on the 10th and we actually raise it on the 11th or the 12th. Because yeah,
Shh.
I always I
Urgency.
there hasn't been a price increase when I haven't had at least one person come back to me and go, I missed it. So we always give a couple of days leeway. But you go to get your ticket and then you put in the promo code PBX Show 2024. It reduces the price
Yep.
from 279 to 178. On January the 11th, that price is going to be 198. On February the 1st, it's going to be 229, and the code is going to be disabled around February the 15th.
Gotcha.
So
And then you've got
so you
rooms
can
too that
still,
they can take advantage of
yeah.
booking the rooms. That's really again $85 a night. That's fantastic.
And you compare, I mean, nowadays you can't get a Motel
And the
6 in a lot
rooms
of places for that price.
What were we gonna say, Dave?
And these are high
and the rooms
quality
are really
rooms.
nice.
Yeah, they are nice. Let's take a look here. So I've seen some people, and it's there's a couple other hotels down the street. You might save $5, $10, $15 a night, but seriously, guys, don't stay at the South Point because just you're going to be missing out a little bit because you have to go to another hotel. Yeah, you'll see a handful of people that are at the expo, but there's nothing like spending time with everybody at the expo, on the floor, having dinner, going to one of the late night parties, doing gambling, and then strolling right upstairs rather than having to go out in the parking lot, walk a couple blocks over to another hotel. So saving 5-10 bucks.
Sometimes it's not strolling; it's more of a stagger. But
With me, it's definitely a stagger. I'm always staggering out of that place. Oh my gosh! But yeah, who knows? I may change my
There
mind
isn't really any there's something called the Grand View next door, which I believe is more expensive than
and
South
listen,
Point.
for anybody that's
Okay.
first,
the Grandview next door. Is that what you were
there,
saying?
Yeah. It's
yeah,
it's literally next door to South Point. The only other um about a mile away is something called the M Casino Resort,
Yeah,
and that I don't, if you're a gambler you can get a deal at any casino, okay, but generally, you're better off paying $85 for a room than you are throwing $1,000 in the slot machines to get a free room,
yeah,
you know.
agree.
So it's um but the other oh, I forget what the name of it. There's another casino. The two casinos are about a mile on either side of South Point.
Mhm.
So it's not, you're not gonna be walking to any of those. You would have to catch an Uber, assuming you're not drinking, drive, um, and all of that. But I don't think like I said, that I think one of the reasons we did so well in the hotel rooms, yeah, we had a record number of people, but if you take a look I mean, we did 4,100 hotel rooms last year, which was a record. We did in 2022, we did I believe 3,300 rooms. Okay. And I think part of the reason we did that many rooms was because the prices out, outside of South Point have gone up so much.
Mhm.
And I even remember going back to like before the pandemic, our price was, I mean, now it's 85, back then it was $75. Okay. And you could our biggest saving used to be that you save on the resort fee. So if you get the hotel through our website, the resort fee is $14. If you get it if you go to Trivago or you go to any of these other sites, any of the hotel discounters, the resort fee is $28.
Yeah, double.
And I checked like I went to I use Kayak, I use Trivago, I check all these sites to make sure we're having the best price. The cheapest price I was able to see 2 weeks or just before Christmas was 109 plus a $28 resort fee, whereas our price is $85 plus a $14 resort fee.
Yeah.
So it's it's a
Well,
significant saving. Yeah, become a club member. Once again, throw $1,000 in their slots, and there's a chance you'll get the room for free. But I don't recommend it.
I've looked a lot more there. That's for sure.
yeah. So, well, Rob, thank you so much for coming on again on such short notice. Thank you for everything you do. Who knows? Maybe I'll change my mind and fly out there. Who knows? But I'm jealous, Dave. You're gonna have to go and represent as you always do. Um, but yeah, so folks, we're gonna go ahead and what's the code again to get the passes? It's PBX show
It's PBX Show 2024.
2024. And
No,
if you
no spaces.
no spaces.
Yeah.
And if you want to book the room, go on the website, and you will be taken to the booking page. Once again, photoboothexpo.com. Go to the book a room, and you'll be taken to the page where you get the show discount on booking room at the South Point for
And make sure you do that before January the 25th,
January 25th.
because there is a they've actually let us in I can't guarantee this because it's when we fill the room block up or the month before the show. So they basically told me that the cutoff is January the 25th. Once that happens, okay, the more rooms we've sold, the more expensive the remaining rooms are going to be.
Gotcha.
Okay. Last year was one of the worst. It was $80, but the people that hadn't booked the room
Hmm.
I literally had about 15 or 20 people either message me or call me or whatever, and it's like, I thought you said the room was $80. It's where they're charging us $160 for this room.
It's a business.
And it's like like I said, if they, if you miss the deadline, I keep on warning people, and
Mhm.
most people listen to me, but I'm fully expecting 10 or 20 calls this year after January the 25th. And the room was more significant. Like one of the, I think the Saturday night it was more, it was two and a half times our price,
Wow.
just because the way I don't know what their algorithms are or how they figure this out, but the fact that Photo Booth Expo and Mobile Entertainment Expo people occupied on the two of the busiest nights, which I think were like Monday night and Tuesday night,
Hmm.
they had more than half the hotel. So that basically means we only have 5% of those rooms left. We're gonna get them. We're gonna charge a premium for them.
Yeah.
Versus other nights where it's like we still have 50% of the hotel free. Well, then you get a discount. It's like
Yeah.
if you're getting the room, go to the website and get it before January the 25th.
Yep. And even if like you think you maybe not sure if you're going, or if you purchase your ticket and you may have to cancel, it's best to reserve that room because you can always cancel that room up to a
That
certain.
that's the only thing that is fully, and that's the other thing. If you get it from us, the tickets are not cancelable. Nothing else is cancelable. I'm cancelable. I'm pretty sure your flight probably isn't cancelable. But the hotel rooms, if your plans change or if you think you got
Mhm.
a better deal or whatever, all you have to do is give 3 days notice, so 72 hours.
Yeah.
As long as you cancel it within 72 hours of the start of your stay, whenever that is, there's absolutely zero penalty. You can just call them up and cancel it. So there is absolutely zero reason not to reserve the room.
Yeah. Absolutely. So better safe than sorry, and save a couple bucks if you're trying to. So, all right. Well, Rob, we're going to let you go. Thank you once again. And folks, we will repost this stuff out tomorrow once we get this, once I review everything. I'll put all the codes in YouTube and we'll put it on the Photo Booth Magazine and Photo Booth Expo. We'll post there and we'll also post on the Photo Booth Network. So it's going to be everywhere so you can get your codes and watch this again. And hopefully, you guys will have a great time at the Photo Booth Expo at MEX 2024.
Okay. Well, I look forward. I mean, Dave's going to be there for sure. I guess there's a small chance you might be there now, but if not, I'll see you at another show or 2025 or whatever.
Oh,
And thank you very much for having me on the show.
oh, thank you. All right, everybody, have a great
We
night, and
love having you on, Rob.
yes, and we'll see you guys
Going.
next week.